There's a lot of information out there about support and resistance. That's because it's the foundation of technical analysis. But because there's so much information, it can get confusing. So in this video, I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to break it down to 2 simple steps. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of how I set my charts up for support and resistance. Before we get into the charts, let's look at a simple explanation of what support and resistance is. So if you look at this simple demonstration, the bottom line represents support on the chart. And the reason why we know this is support is because the price line is not able to get past that level. So bears are not able to take the price any further. So we have a line that is representing our support. Then if you look at the top line, that is representing our resistance. And the reason why we know that's our resistance is because bulls are not able to push that price past that line. So we have some support and some clear resistance in this very simple pattern. Now that we know how to identify support and resistance, we're going to go to a chart and go to actually try and put this into practice. Now, in order to find our strongest support levels, we are going to start at the daily time frame. You can find support and resistance on all time frames, but the longer time frames show you the strongest levels of support and resistance. So let's just look at this chart and see if any levels jump out at us. We're looking around today's price action because we want to see what's going to happen next. I have snap turned on so we can see that this 35.35, 35.40 area is sort of gathering some support. We're not dipping anywhere beyond that, and it's been sort of gathering somewhere around that area. So before we go and try and find the exact level, let's just highlight a zone. Now we will adjust this zone later, but the reason why we're adding a zone right now is just for our own reference so that we know the general area that we're looking for levels in. I just find that this helps when you're looking to find some key levels. Okay, so here's our zone. I'm going to go back to the line tool, make sure I have snap turned on, and I'm going to start looking for some levels here. I want to find an exact price point that at least has a double bottom. And there we have one, 35.69. So it's snapping there and it's snapping there. Now, some traders don't care because they'll just look in this general zone area, but I do like to have exact price points being tried more than once. And so what we've done here is we have found a double bottom level that has been tested multiple times on the daily time frames. So here's our level. I'm just going to turn off the zone for now, because we're going to draw this back again later. But what we want to do right now is try and classify this level. How strong is this level? So we're going to run through a series of questions, and we're going to ask that about this level that we've found, and then we're going to basically grade our level in terms of how strong is this level. Now, the reason we want to know how strong our level is because weak levels will just basically be fake outs and lead us in wrong directions with our trading. So the stronger the level, the more that we can be confident in the direction of our trade. So the first question we want to ask is, was this level recently tested and respected on the daily time frame? And so since we got this level from the daily time frame, because we know it was a daily double bottom, the answer to that question is yes. Now, the next question we want to ask is, was this level support and resistance in the past? Okay, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit on the chart. So we're looking at a longer period of time here. Now, we want a level to act as to act as resistance on the way up. And then later on, that level will become our support. So these will be very strong levels going forward. If we know that in the past it was difficult for the bulls to push past that level, then in the future that will become a nice level of support that we can rely on. So back here we can see that we tested the level, rejected it, tested it again before we gap up big and then got through it. So there was a lot of testing back here where it was also resistance, and then we basically broke through it. It's been a pretty key level for changes in the chart. So this is going to give it another check mark in terms of its strength. Now to answer the next question, we want to look at larger time frames. So we're going to look at the weekly first. And what we want to know is, was this level tested multiple times on the weekly or the monthly? So when we look at the weekly, each of these candles are representing a week. So if this is being tested and closed on the weekly at these levels, and bulls are holding this level for long periods of time, then that shows a lot of strength in this level. And you can see right here that although this exact level was only tested over here, we also have a really nice zone that we can highlight on the weekly. So this is what I said when I said we were going to go back and adjust the zone. So we're going to adjust that zone on the weekly. And we're going to say, yes, this area was tested multiple times on the weekly. So we get another check mark on this level. So if I flip my chart back to the daily now, you can see that this zone is highlighted nicely for us. I drew it on the weekly, but then on the daily, it really shows the areas where we were getting tested in this support zone. So we have a support zone, and then we have a level to watch. So the last question we want to ask about this chart on the daily time frame is, at this level, did we see drastic swing highs or swing lows? And that means once we got through the level, if we were on the way up, did we go up very largely? So a drastic change. And then you can see back here that yes, that did happen. It was a gap. So we gapped up very large from this resistance zone. And then if we can zoom back out to history and we extend our zone, you can see over here, once we broke through the zone, we actually dipped quite a lot through that zone. So this gets another check mark to the strength of this zone and this level that we've found. So we're finished classifying the strength of our support zone. And you can see that we actually have a perfect score. So I would call this a key support area. Remember though, before we asked these questions and before we started to classify the strength, we found the support by asking the first question. So to call this a strong support zone, we want at least 2 check marks on this list. And the more check marks we have, the stronger we can consider this level. So if you follow these 2 simple steps, you'll be able to find the strongest levels of support and resistance very easily. After a while, you won't even really be going through this process. It will just be instantaneous for you. You'll be able to look at the chart, ask yourself those quick criteria, and then you'll be able to classify the resistance and the support very quickly. And so now that you know how to find the levels, I want to give you a few tips of things that I've just picked up along the way. I have tried many different things, and these are the key things that I think I wish I would have just stuck to from the beginning. I just go with one color for both support and resistance. I don't try and color code too much. I've tried various things like making support one color, resistance another color, strong support one color, weak support another color, and it just gets confusing over time. And when I pull up old charts, they mean nothing to me because the support and resistance changes over time. Once you've gone through the process of classifying your support and resistance, only draw the ones that really matter. So the strong ones and the key ones. They're the only ones that matter, and that's the reason why we go through this process to begin with. It's tempting to just go through all of your charts and just plot out all of the support and resistance over time so that one day when you need that chart, you can pull it up and your levels will already be there. But there's a couple of reasons why I don't do this. One is that it makes your chart just look confusing. I mean, you can tell the difference between a chart like this and a chart like this. When you have all these lines on there, it's difficult for you to see chart patterns or to analyze candlestick formations. Also, when you pull up that chart, those levels may not be even relevant anymore. You're basically going to have to reanalyze the chart when you get to that price anyway. So what I do now is I only plot out the current price, resistance, and support that really matters to me. If we change and we break those levels, then I'll look for new levels. So that's it for today's lesson on how to find the strongest support and resistance. If you'd like to see more courses on technical analysis, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications.